Great. And we're live. So welcome everybody to the Management 3.0 virtual book tour with Jurgen Appelo, where we're celebrating the latest book, Workout. And before I introduce Jurgen, if anybody has any questions that they want to ask now or in the future, you can send them to #M30Workout and we'll get those answered. So, Jurgen, tonight we're speaking about Delegation Board. So this is very exciting. Jurgen will do a short presentation, and then we'll have Burkhard from Mainz, Germany, also giving a short presentation. Then we'll open it up for discussion and questions and answers. So, Jurgen, why don't you take it away?
Okay, well, thank you, Lizette. Awesome that we're going to discuss delegation boards. And now one of my favorite topics, I should say. Out of the many workout practices that are in the workout book. The topic is empowerment, delegation, which is an important topic, considering that many people, particularly in the agile communities, favor working in self-organizing teams. Some call them self-managed teams, and that is all very nice and well. But to what extent can people self-organize? That is often the question in organizations. Can they just do anything? Is there like no boundary at all? Or are there some boundaries somewhere, and do they need to be clarified? Well, usually the latter case is what happens in large organizations. If there's nobody setting any boundaries, then basically you have like the equivalent of a startup. There's a couple of people getting together and they can do whatever they want, except for that which is restricted by law. Obviously, there are boundaries somewhere, but other than that, they can do whatever pleases them. In larger organizations, there need to be some territorial boundaries between what this team is doing and what that team is doing, and what upper management is responsible for, and what the lower levels take up in terms of the work. So there are a couple of models about delegation and empowerment. The most famous one is servant leadership. Maybe some of you have heard it. It basically has 4 levels of delegation. And it is a well-model concept and word, servant leadership. But the one thing that I found lacking with servant leadership is that it is by definition a hierarchical model. You only delegate down. The first level is tell, the last level is delegate, and it only goes top to bottom basically. And I thought I prefer a bit more of a symmetrical model where the manager and the team are equivalent partners, and they basically come to some agreement on who is doing what. It is not only the manager delegating work to the team, but you can also see it the other way around, where the team doesn't want to do everything by themselves. For some things, they're glad when managers and others in the organization take care of things for them, so they delegate stuff away from their team boundaries. I think there's a more respectful way of looking at things if you have a horizontal model, a symmetrical model. So I came up with 7 levels of delegation, and I have cards here. I'm going to show you the delegation poker cards, useful for explaining the model. The first level is tell. That simply means I'm going to tell you what my decision is and no discussion about it, because I know best. In some cases, that is a possible level for a key decision area. Level 2 is sell. That means I'm going to try and convince you that my decision is the best one, but I'm going to try and get buy-in, at least try to make you understand that I'm trying to, I have the best possible answer to this particular issue. Level 3 is a step further. Then I'm going to listen to everyone first, ask the team what they want, and then gather their opinions. Then still I make the decision as the manager. Level 4 is agreement. There's nobody making a final call. This is consensus or democratic decision or whatever implementation you want to have for this level. And then it flips to the other side. So basically 5 is the opposite of 3. 5 says, I will advise the team, or basically they will consult me. It's the opposite of 3. So I'm going to tell them what I think is the best thing. They will have to hear me out, but they can make their decision by themselves. But they have to listen to me first. 6 is the opposite of 2. That is, you do whatever you want, but sell it to me, basically, or I call it INQUIRE. I will ask them, so what is it that you did as a manager? I'm curious. I want to know. I'm interested. Try to explain to me. Last one is full delegation. You can tell me or not, whatever. Just do what you think is best, because you're the professionals around here. So these are 7 levels, and the first thing that stood out to me is that if you have these numbers and these words, that can make a discussion easier. It can clarify things in any regular conversation. Like recently on the Happy Melly team, a number of months ago, we hired new team members, and we had a brief discussion. At what level is this delegated? Does the team make the final decision about the new team members, or do I make the final decision? And then I said, well, I mean 5. You have the conversations with the new candidates. I will give you my opinion. I insist that I give my opinion, but it will be a team decision whether to take on a new team member or not. So this clarifies the discussion, so we're all on the same page. That is one thing that you can achieve with this. You can go a step further and then visualize everything on a delegation board. That means that you have a couple of columns from left to right, numbers 1 to 7, a couple of key decision areas vertically, a couple of rows, and then you say such things like vacation days. To what extent is that delegated to the team? Can they decide by themselves when they go on vacation and where? Or do they ask for permission of the manager? What about selection of tools? What about expenses? What about team membership? Can they just reshuffle in any way they like, or is the input from manager needed? There's no good or bad answer to any of these questions. It's just a matter of clarity you need to know. And that's something that I picked up from by Donald Reinertsen, where he had this nice metaphor of walking into invisible electric fences. He said, if a self-organizing team does not know what the boundaries are, they might try to make decisions, but every now and then, they walk into an invisible electric fence. And it turns out, oops, you are not allowed to make a decision over there. Well, that might happen 2 or 3 times, but then the result is that people will stand still because, hey, you never know where the fences are around here because we don't see them. I like that metaphor. I also like the metaphor of the horse, because management is actually from the word maneggiare, which means leading horses. It's old Italian root of this word. And so literally it means leading a self-organizing living system. So it needs to know where the boundaries are. That's what you can achieve with delegation levels and the delegation board. Just list the key decision areas, clarify for the people. A couple of things can happen. In some situations, there is total chaos because managers have delegated almost everything to a self-organizing team. They totally believe in agile, but then nothing happens. Nothing happens because the team is not fully aware that they really have to make those decisions by themselves, and the work just drops in the middle somewhere. So by clarifying the boundaries, it makes it more evident that people have to pick up that work because the board says so. Another situation is the opposite, where the team really wants to take on more responsibilities, but the manager is not giving it away. Well, by visualizing the key decision areas, making the tick marks, you can make a first step towards pushing for delegation, basically, or pulling it towards the team. If you tell the manager, look, Tool selection now apparently seems to be level 2, which is that you tell us which tools to use in the organization and on the team. Is it possible that we'll make it level 3? It's one step further. You're still in control, but at least you ask us for our opinion. And it's a pretty safe, small step to make. Once that small step is taken, then maybe if you've gained some trust with the manager that you have actually some smart ideas on tool selection, maybe you can move it to level 4, which is let's agree together. So delegation can be a step-by-step approach. Maybe it can take a year or 2 for things to move from level 2 to level 6. That's okay, at least there's progress. So it's a solution that can work with a chaotic, anarchistic team, and it can be the opposite. It can be a solution or control situation where the team wants to pull some more responsibilities towards them. That is how I intended Delegation Board, and the game Delegation Poker is a fun way of experimenting and playing with those boundaries and revealing assumptions on a team. There are various ways of playing the game. I'll not go into details right now. But that is the background of the model. And now I look forward to hearing a story of how it is particularly implemented or how it is experimented with by Burkhard. So Burkhard, over to you.
Thank you, Jurgen. So I met Jurgen in Bonn on a conference regarding leadership, agile leadership, and attended also a workshop during this conference regarding delegation poker. And I thought it is very valuable to discuss this also with my team. One of our 3 leadership principles is empower to perform. So you mentioned this in your introduction, Jürgen. So fits perfect to our company strategy and management strategy. So beginning of May this year, I had to manage a new team. It was combined from 2 former teams due to a reorganization within our organization. And in preparation of this new organization, I had an offsite with my team, and I discussed also with them the delegation poker to bring more responsibilities to the team, because I found I have a lot of very experienced managers within the team, and it makes sense to bring the responsibility to the managers who are responsible for the products, and they are able to work in this mode, I'm sure. So I discussed it on the workshop, and I will show and share you a little bit how I did this. And now I will share my screen. So I hope it works. So do you see now the first page? I hope. This was an introduction with a short overview about the 7 delegation levels Jürgen already told in the introduction. So it's of course important for the team to understand the 7 levels of delegation, and we discussed it in the beginning, of course, and also the delegation board. So we worked on this delegation board. I will come to this a few seconds later. That's the 7 levels as a card, so only to have this visible. And this is how we work on this. So at first we gathered, or we asked or collected the topics we want to discuss in this delegation poker. So you see, of course, it's in Germany, so I tried to translate it on the left side. So it's home office, a selection of the students who are working in my team, escalation of projects, and so on, trainings, and you see also planning of vacation or planning of offsites and so on. That's the first part that we gathered this topics where we want to discuss the delegation level. The next part was to prioritize these topics, and you see we identified 6 topics, the highest rated topics to discuss in small groups. And then my team is about 14 employees are in my team, and so I divided the team in 3 groups, and we worked on these 6 topics. And I will show you the results on the next page. So this is a result of 1 team. So you see on the left side the 6 topics we discussed, and they rated. Everybody, every team member rated the topics regarding how is the delegation level today between 1 and 7. That's the blue point there. And how should it be? What is the target delegation, or what could be the target delegation level? These are the red one. And you see here we have some topics are very close together between 3 and 4, some between 4 and 7. So very different experience or different rating from this team members from this group. And I will show you the next one from another group. And I was also a member of this group. On the left side, again, the 6 topics. I hope you can see it. It's not the quality is not perfect, but we did one recommendation I have is not to do this work in the small group in the whole group in the beginning. So to start with a personal estimation or rating, personal rating of these topics from status and target. And then we came together and shared our personal ratings and marked this on the flip chart to show with a cross. That means here is the status, and the ring is the target here. The target situation, and then after this we discussed how we or why some, for instance, home office see as a target that it is level 4. Some see the target it should be level 7. And after this discussion, we tried to agree if this was possible. After the discussion, what is the target situation for this small group? As part of my team. So in the case of home office, it was level 6 on this page you can see. So the same for all other topics. You see in this group a wide spread between, for instance, the allocation of tasks within the team between 2 and 6. So really 6 as a target, or 5 as the status of 1 employee. And so we had really a very good and very fruitful discussion. So only this is very, very helpful to discuss within the teams. To what is the view of the responsibility of different topics or of different different topics. So to share some experience, I was member of this group. My color was not red. I think it was black. And after this session, I wondered a little bit that a lot of these topics, my target was more to 5, 6, or 7 than to 2, 3, or 4. We came together in the whole group. We shared the results of the small groups, and then I worked on this some days later in the office, and let me say, there came up some serious questions. So it was more and more aware that if I rate level 6 or 7, that means that I have to give away the control over this. So, for instance, the home office, if all team members decide without any information, or maybe with information, but they decide to work at home, so maybe I'm alone in the office. Yeah? So more as a worst case scenario, of course, but so some question came up, or other question was, does this really work for all members of the team, for all tasks in the team? Does it work, for instance, to use example home office? Does it work to do special maybe testing or assistant tasks and so on in the home office? So these were some more serious, or I considered a lot of things. And I think it is important to consider also this. But then I thought about thinking about this. I read a little bit from the management workout chapter from Jurgen, and then I found it was very important, or a very important part of this chapter was the part of boundaries. And I think it is important there to set clear boundaries, to define where are you free to decide, totally free, maybe level 7, but where are the boundaries within you can decide. So it is more, it is easier and it's more, let me say, safe for the team, and also it is, I feel, more comfortable. And so I take the example of the home office. It's in German, but I will translate. So I define some boundaries, and the first boundary is that the basic condition is that it is the target is to do a good work, or to do a good job, of course. And so if you do home office, you should work as good as in the office, or maybe better as in the office. And some other technical stuff. So you have to reroute your phone, and it should be part of Outlook, or it should be assigned in Outlook, and so on. And you have to, of course, to have access to your emails and so on. So some rules, but within these rules, the team is free to decide one rule. So because I love to work with my team, and I love to work and to communicate with them also in the office, this is for me more the normal thing to do. I do not want to only to communicate to my team via video conference or phone calls. So I limited the mobile working or home office for the first phase to 1 day per week. And within this rules, the team is totally free to define. So in fact, this is more level 7 than level 6, because they don't don't have to wait for okay from me. So they only have to mark their Outlook for this day, and to send a short email on this day. I'm in the home office, and that's okay. So that's one example how we worked on this. We have another example. I go back to this one, maybe to this. Another example, working hours. So this is very easy for us, because we have some rules within the company, and these are very free. So and within these rules, they have to work. So it is very easy for me to define there are the boundaries, because the boundaries are a part of the rules between the employees and the management in this company. So the next step for me is to define rules and discuss maybe rules or boundaries for the other topics, and to bring this to life. So some topics we have already live, and this is working very well so far. And I think to two suggestions regarding this. The first is, if you consider a lot of more serious questions, often you have, let me say, worst case scenarios in mind. And I think it is very important that it is, at the end of the day, it is a decision not to be guided by these worst case scenarios. This is not helpful, and this does not work. And the next one is, at the end of the day, it is important that you trust really your team. And that's the most important thing. And I'm sure I'm absolutely I can really trust my team. And so this was for me the basis I felt comfortable to bring as maximum as possible responsibility to the team, and to go on with this delegation protocols for further topics like roadmap planning or product definition, product range, and other things. Yeah, that's for this time, for the first step from my experience with this. So I would go over to stop share and to the Q&A session. I think it
all right.
Fine.
Okay, that's awesome. I love the difference, the distinction that you made between the current status and the target on those boards. That's not something that I had originally conceived, but definitely a great adaptation of the idea, and I'm sure that is an example that other people could follow, because indeed there's a current situation and an intended ideal state where maybe you would like to end up. But then people have different perspectives on that. So I like how you use the different crosses and circles there. So thanks for sharing the story, Burkhard. What about the participants? Does anyone have their own comments or questions? Just raise your hand, and we will give you a chance to throw in your 2 cents of ideas. Yeah, David.
I can figure out how to make this work. I have a question, actually. As I'm going through this, I've not gotten to use this yet, but we have groups that have different areas of responsibility. And as the teams have worked together, they start to get to know one another's areas of responsibility a little better. They get to understand and appreciate those things. And so you see behaviors that might be cross-stepping. We're like, oh, that's my domain. I don't want you making a decision there. But in other cases and on some of the other teams, oh, that's my domain. And yeah, you're right. Let's do it that way, right? Has anyone used this type of thing, not just with one manager in the team, but within the team even, to maybe like you did, have the different colors to say, instead of going where we are today, where we would be, but say, hey, for these are the people, it's almost racy-like. It's almost, here's the amount of involvement I want in these areas. Here's the amount of involvement I want in other areas.
Burkhard, do you have your perspective on that?
I'm not sure if I got your question the right way. So what is your main question there? So maybe you could repeat what is really the main topic what you want to raise.
Would it be possible when you have different areas of domain expertise on the team, and so instead of having like the manager saying here's what I will delegate, you basically have team members saying here's the amount of involvement I want in team decisions? Can we use it that way?
So it's within the team boundaries that people delegate to each other, basically. That seems to be the question to me. Yeah. Burkhard, you have experience with that?
Not so far. Is it more that there is that within the team is a very different view of delegation level the team members want, or they are able to work with, or?
So it's more as the members have gotten to know each other. It's not the level of expertise is kind of growing across the whole team. Like, oh, I understand that aspect of this work. I understand that aspect of this work. In IT world, it may be like business analysts and quality control and testing and writing user guides and whatever. And so as the team's working toward different things, all of a sudden now different people can be involved, but they're still the domain expert on that team. So can we use a tool like this across the team to say, as the teams get stronger, there can be some delegation, some cross-fertilization and release of control. That's what I'm trying to get to. And if I'm trying to get a round peg into a square hole, say, David, you're trying to do this wrong, and that's all good.
No, I think it's a good question. Burkhard, you have an idea? Because I have my own, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, of course, if you have different, let me say, experience levels within the team, it is more usual that the more experienced managers will or are able to do decisions on a, let me say, higher level, like 5, 6, 7 delegation level. And if you have some new team members, there, of course, they are asked more for advice or more for consult. Of course, this range is of course the fact. Yeah, but maybe you have some ideas.
Well, the model is intended, but may be applicable beyond that. But it is intended for the relationship between the manager and the team. That is what I came up with to address that particular issue. And I think that is an earlier candidate for formalization than the relationships between team members within a team. That doesn't mean that it cannot be useful. I think it can, but the number of delegation boards would explode because you have a relationship with each of the individual team members, and they could all basically make their own delegation boards between each other, so to speak. So I think you shouldn't use a tool where it is not necessary. I have found that I only use delegation level or use this language when there is something to clarify. When there is no problem, when there is no discussion or no unclarity, it makes no sense to put up a delegation board. Why would you? It's just bureaucracy then. So you use it in case there is a clarification needed. And I think that clarification is needed first usually between the manager and the self-organizing team. I do see the issue and need maybe on some teams that between the team members, maybe there are a couple of people who simply know more. They have more experience in a certain domain area. I totally understand that. So there you could make some informal agreements and say, well, if it is about JavaScript technologies, well, let's agree that I'm the guru here on this team. You all can do whatever you want as long as you ask for my opinion. So that would be level 5. And then you could simply use the language to come to some informal agreement between the team member without putting up delegation boards everywhere. I think that would be a bit overkill. But the language could be useful for clarification between them, I think. Good question, by the way. Any others? Just raise your hand if you have a question or comment. Yeah, Stefan.
Yeah, hi. I'm pretty new to these M3O stuff, and I'm pretty amazed. So
Good.
First thing I did when I come to my company is to introduce the delegation board. I'm a Scrum Master for my team, but I'm also a Scrum Master for multiple teams, and a team which is has some specialists like the POs and architects all in there, and some developers also. And there's there's need to clarify the whole process. So as I introduce it, they said, oh, pretty good stuff. But now I'm thinking, if I have some how can I use the delegation board to different views? So the delegation board is one people owns this, so the manager normally, and it's a discussion about the manager and the team. So now we have different perspectives or decision areas. So I'm thinking about the last week how to use the delegation board and modify a bit to this purpose. Maybe someone can, or you can give me a hint.
Well, I'm trying to understand what the exact problem is that you are trying to solve, because you said you want to experiment with it, but what is the issue that you want to solve with the problem?
Yeah, the issue is that we have many owners for a key decision area. So one solution would be that I make for each one a delegation board. But is there a possibility to get some on some key decision areas some owner of the key decision area visible on the board? It's more clearly, or
okay. Well, maybe half, but so I think it is a tool that needs to be adapted to the problem that you want to solve. That is correct. So I can imagine some organizations having multiple versions, one for each team, between the team and the manager. I can imagine some having just one across multiple teams, and then using the tick marks or the stickies to express differences, if there are any, between different teams. There is also stuff that teams want to delegate to their manager. That is, as I said earlier, it is a symmetrical model. So we want managers to take care of stuff for us, as long as they keep us informed, or as long as they ask for our opinion. Does that go on the same board, or do you use another one for that? I have no preference. You just play with the tool and use it in any way that you see fit. Like it's like I give you a scissors. You'd have to decide how to cut it, how to turn it into something that cuts nicely. But I have no idea what kind of thing you want to make.
Yeah.
So all kinds of variations. I have seen people use names to specify individual persons to whom a certain decision is delegated. And there are things that need to be clarified, maybe with little notes. So, for example, what if you delegate vacation days to a team and you set it to level 6, for example? That means that they can decide as long as they inform the manager. But does that then still need agreement between the team members, or can people individually decide whatever they want as long as they report back to the manager? Well, those are details. You need to clarify them anyways.
Okay.
The tool can only do so much, but it is intended as a conversation enabler, and just invites people to have that conversation, as Burkhard so nicely described. Then people get talking about it, and they will figure out, maybe it's better to turn this into 2 different boards, or use stickies, or use dots, or whatever. Like one thing that I had to solve recently, I made one with my own team, and I thought about expenses. What about people paying for stuff? I don't need to give agreement on every single 10 euros that people spend, that doesn't make any sense. But if they spend 10,000 euros, I would like to know. So what is the boundary? And then I thought, okay, well, let's make it 2 decision areas then. One is 500 euros and less, and the other is more than 500 euros. And those 2 then have different tick marks on the board. And that solved the problem for me, but I just came up with that solution on the spot. Maybe someone else would have a different kind of implementation. So you play with it, Stefan, and let us know how you solved it.
Yeah, maybe next time I can introduce it. Or,
that would be awesome.
Presentate it. Yeah, I have some ideas, but I have to figure out which one works.
Exactly. All right. Well, take pictures of it and send it to us.
Let you know. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? No other questions?
Before we go then, I want to take a group photo, if that's possible.
Yeah, that would be great. I saw Vidya raise her hand, I think.
Yeah, I just...
oh, great.
Yeah. So I found the video camera. So
awesome.
To Burkhard, I wanted to ask if this process of doing this delegation board has helped him a little bit to relax, because now, the stress of doing all the decisions for each and every team person, coming to him in the office and asking him whether they can do home office. Now it's decided, there are some rules. Is something working for him? I mean, is it relaxing?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Vidya. Yeah, absolutely. It's relaxing. Regarding the home office days, it's not really so big stuff, but regarding other topics, it's much more relaxing, of course. And on top, it is very important for the team members, because they have more responsibility. It's more value to them, and so it's very important for their satisfaction within the team. So for me, it's a little bit more relaxing, and the team is more happy to have the right responsibility for their topics.
Okay, great, good question. I like the answer too. It can be relaxing indeed to know that people can make decisions by themselves, but taking into account a boundary, because someone else is responsible on the other side of that border. All right, great. So Lisette, team photo, you said?
Yeah, let's do a team photo. So
right.
Yeah, we'll have everybody smile. Get your whole face in there, and right. There we go. Yeah, smile like you're not bored. And let me get the things.
Look at the camera.
Okay.
Right. Look into the camera now. 3, 2, 1. All right, and it's done.
All right. Awesome.
And if everybody could put their Twitter handle in the chat, if you have a Twitter account, that would be very handy. Then you can all see who each other are and maybe get in contact if you have questions for each other, or in the future. That's always very handy.
Indeed.
So for anybody who's watching now or in the future, I guess we're the only ones watching. If you have questions, then go ahead and put them to #M30workout, and we'll get those answered. And that's it for today, unless anybody has anything else. But otherwise, we'll end here.
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you to Burkhard for your story. Much appreciated, and I really like the examples that you gave us, and I'm sure the audience will as well. This will go up on our YouTube channel and on our website for later generations. They will enjoy this for centuries to come, I'm quite sure. And if anyone wants to share their stories about a particular topic in the workout book, we have many more sessions ahead of us, whether it is mirror money or improv cards or whatever. There's a lot of sessions scheduled the rest of the year. So just contact me or Lisette or Louise, and we'll make sure to get you all hooked up for the next one of the next book tour sessions. Look forward to that.
All right, until next time.
All right.